The previous 5th generation of the Toyota 4Runner was around for what seemed like forever. 15 model years, which in the automotive world is an eternity, but we have an all-new generation and they've given it some much-needed updates. New exterior styling, interior, and new powertrain. They've said goodbye to the previous 4-liter naturally aspirated V6, and now they're following the Apple model for naming products. You have the iPhone 17, and then the iPhone 17 Pro Max. Well, now you have the iForce and the iForce Max. The iForce is a 2.4-liter turbocharged 4-cylinder that makes 278 horsepower and 317 pound-feet of torque. The iForce Max version is the hybrid one, and that is shared with the Toyota Land Cruiser. This is still a body-on-frame SUV, and I really like how, I think it was Car and Driver described it as truck-adjacent versatility. Buyers of these want that rugged durability feel. I feel like the TRD Pro version of the 4Runner usually get most of the attention because they're the more badass off-road focused ones, but this one here as a limited is slightly more on-road leaning. In terms of the pricing, this one has been optioned to almost $63,000, which is a little bit of a challenge because it's starting to intersect with the pricing for the Land Cruiser, and with the Land Cruiser you do get the hybrid iForce Max as standard. But one big thing with 4Runners that's pretty much always been true is they typically hold value really well. They just don't depreciate as much as normal vehicles typically do. So whatever money you buy it for, you're gonna get a lot of it back, and they've also been known to last for like forever. They just keep going. As long as you take care of them, you just drive them and drive them. But what is this new generation like to live with? How is this 4Runner limited? How does it compare to the Land Cruiser? We're gonna find out. It is so insanely cold this week. I cannot feel my fingers or toes. We have the power deployable side step here. Help you get in. Oh my gosh. Luckily I have the heat cranked. Heated steering wheel, heated seats. Whew. We'll pull up CarPlay. I can put my phone over here as a wireless charging pad. Actually, a lot of cool little storage cubbies all over the center console. Big chunky shifter, and away we go. We have a sponsor for today's video, LazFit. We've got some all-weather floor mats we're gonna install in this 4Runner TRD Pro. If you live somewhere like Michigan where it's like the Arctic tundra, you know how important all-weather floor mats are because of, well, snow, ice, and salt. As you can see, the factory floor mats don't extend that far, so you can oftentimes have dirt, snow, and salt extending beyond the edges. Let's go ahead and unbox these. They're made of TPE, which is thermoplastic elastomer, which sounds really fancy, but essentially combines the benefits of plastic where they're really durable. They can be injection molded with high accuracy and precision because they're all custom fit to the different vehicles, and they can be recycled, but also rubber where it can be flexible, but not that terrible rubber smell, right? You know, sometimes you get something rubber and it's got that really strong smell. These don't have that. Remove the factory floor mats here, pull these out. Ooh, those are dirty. And then go ahead, slide these in. And as you can see, that is much better coverage. They use the same OEM mounting points, which is really important because you do not want your floor mats moving around. Passenger side out, and the new one going in. Twist, locks that in. All of this coverage here that the factory one's not, and look how far it extends. Like comparison, right? Like this is, you can fit the factory ones inside these new ones, and this is all additional coverage right there. So if you need all-weather floor mats for your car, I would definitely recommend checking out LazFit. They have so many options and configurations. For example, for the 4Runner, you can pick either 5-seat or 7-seat, hybrid or non-hybrid, front row, second row, cargo, and if you use my discount code, you get 20% off your order. Thanks to LazFit for sponsoring this video. Now back to the vlog. There's been this like polar vortex the last couple days, week, whatever. It's all blurring together, and it's so crazy cold. There's been times where like I check the weather app and I'm like, wait, did I accidentally leave it in Celsius? Why is it 3 degrees outside, or minus whatever with wind chill? It's not fun to be outside filming. It is not enjoyable at all. I'm slowly warming up my toes right now. Also, we have different drive modes to play around with. So you use this rotary toggle here for your drive modes, and there's actually a lot, more than I expected. Custom, Sport Plus, Sport, Normal, Comfort, Eco. Why are there 2 different sport modes for a 4Runner? What? I get giving it a sport mode, right? But like Sport and then Sport Plus, that's like something you'll find in like a BMW M car or like a Mercedes AMG. Interesting. Definitely throttle response peps up quite a bit in sport mode. Stopping by FedEx to pick up a couple things. Also, with the heated steering wheel, it gets pretty warm, noticeably warmer up here than here. Maybe because there's more heating element here, because this, you know, you have the spokes and the buttons and stuff eating into it. But it gets warm enough. Up here, definitely, ooh, that's nice and toasty. Ah, very nice. Open the door. Side step deploys right there. You know, sometimes these power side steps, I know like if it gets really like covered in snow and ice and stuff, they can have issues. But right now, this has been totally fine. Looks like we have a control here if you want it on or off. Okay, so now that's not coming out anymore. You can trigger it there or just leave it just on auto. Auto is when you open and close the door, it automatically deploys. Engine on. Couple beeps and boops. Oh, see, it's complaining about the tire pressure again. Toyota screens seem to take a little bit of time to boot up. You saw when I hit the on button. Yeah, warning, gotta read the warning. Okay, continue. And there we go, CarPlay is booting up. So a little bit of a hesitation, a little lag right there. But take a look at that screen. That is a, I believe, 14-inch infotainment screen. It's actually pretty massive, like somebody left their giant iPad stuck here, right? It's very, very nice, but what Toyota's doing really well is they're still giving us buttons. Look at all of these toggles. They've got some texture to them, and you can toggle up and down. Like, you could use these with gloves on. Huge dials here for changing your temperature, button for your heated steering wheel. Like, this is very nice, just changing like the air direction, right? Airflow direction. So they still give us plenty of physical buttons, a volume knob right here, complementing the big screen. It's not like everything here is in the big screen. A lot of cars now is like they view the big touchscreen, and then all your climate stuff is like a little menu on the bottom of the touchscreen. So I like they still have this, and just look at all like the controls and storage in the middle. That's for wireless phone charging, and then we've got USB-C ports with the power output labeled 45 watts each, or looks like 52.5 combined between the two. There's another little slot right here. This is interesting too. It's got like these little openings, cup holders, more buttons, although you do have some blank ones here, but camera views. Whoa. Why does it look like I'm spinning on a disc in space? And look, the steering wheel has lots and lots of buttons too. So it's a weird time where I'm just rejoicing over buttons, because so many cars now are just touchscreen and touch sensitive this and touch swipey everything. But I think Toyota knew with this kind of buyer in this vehicle demographic, they had to keep it this way. Wait, what's this? I could change the color of my car? There, that matches my spec. Whoa. Okay, I haven't seen that before. Usually it's either a fixed predetermined color, or on like BMWs, for example, they match the spec of your car in all the virtual displays, even if you have a cool individual BMW individual color. But here, I can change. So even if I have a blue car, I have a blue 4Runner right now, but if I identify as a red car, I can be red. It makes pretty solid torque, actually. It's a slight step up in power from the V6. Now, the iForce Max, the hybrid one, definitely makes more power and torque, obviously. But this is actually not bad. It is going to be a bit more coarse feeling. I always feel like these really larger displacement 4-cylinders start to feel a little bit more coarse. This one, there's an even bigger one. GM, they've got like a 2.7 liter turbo 4. A lot of times turbo 4s, you're like 1.6, 2 liters, right? This one 2.4, but I don't mind it actually in this. And from a reliability standpoint, we don't know what the iForce Max is going to be like. Obviously, the Toyota group has had some challenges with a certain V6, right? And there's a hybrid option of that one available too. And this platform is just kind of known to go, right? The old naturally aspirated V6 was such like a lower stressed engine. You took care of it. I mean, like you joke, 250,000 miles on a 4Runner. Oh, you're almost through braking. Nice, right? They just go. So we'll see how this new gen does with this powertrain. Pulling up the camera views when you're in drive is much more useful. So many different views, although the truck is already dirty from winter salt. But you get the overhead view, we've got the front one here, we've got the side wheels, you've got backup, so you got all the different ones. Looks like when you're in park is when you get this little cinematic, the cinematic little rotating thing. And, oh, we have a net! That's very handy. This one actually has the third row. I believe if you get the hybrid, you can't have a third row. Although, as an adult, I don't think I'd want to go in that third row. It does not look like it is comfortable at all. We also have an outlet right here. Oh, full-size outlet. This thing is, of course, pretty practical. Even with the third row folded up, I could probably put a good amount of stuff back here. late night airport run to pick up Angel. She's flying back from California, so the frozen Michigan is gonna be a little bit of a shock probably. I'm actually really liking this infotainment screen. It's a 14-inch screen, and I love that CarPlay is the full screen. That is really nice. I think that's bigger than the screen in the Land Cruiser, if I'm not mistaken. I think the Land Cruiser was like a 12.3-inch infotainment screen. All right, this lane keeping is actually really bad. I am turning that off and just using adaptive cruise control. It just keeps swaying back and forth in the lane. I can't. There's a Tesla in front of me, officer. I could drive over him. That'd be doing the world a favor, right? Man, it just won't stop snowing this winter. Anyways, the 4Runner Limited. The Limited trim is a little bit more luxury on-road leaning among the 4Runner personalities, especially compared to the TRD and off-road versions, but it still has that more boxy, aggressive, rugged design that all the 4Runners have, especially compared to other SUVs and crossovers in the lineup. The front styling kind of reminds me of the face of a bulldog. That's just what comes to mind for me. You've got the silver trim here, the logo, a little bit more premium looking, and the DRLs are white. I think on the TRD Pro, it's actually a yellow DRL, which actually looks really cool, like a yellow-orange look here. We have more on-road focused wheels and tires here, but still very boxy cutouts, lots of angles and everything, and creases all over the body for the 4Runner. This is also functional, you can see, for air passing through. Coming around to the back, actually, is one of my favorite things about the 4Runner. You have these two buttons on the exterior, up and down arrows. If I press and hold this, the rear windshield goes down. If you're coming up to the vehicle and you need to load some, I don't know, fishing gear or other equipment in the back and you don't want to open the entire tailgate, you can open the rear window from outside. If I press the up button here, the rear windshield will go up, which is pretty handy. What other cars have rear windshields that go into the tailgate? I don't know what else does, right? Typically, some of them they can swing up, but for the descend into the tailgate is a pretty cool thing. You can also press here for the power opening tailgate. See the 4Runner lettering right there. And then, I mentioned this, it has 3 rows, but I would not want any adult to sit in that 3rd row. That does not look comfortable. This is really just for cargo, but if you get the hybrid, I believe you lose a 3rd row. Hybrids and Toyotas, the packaging, like the battery pack, really eats into the space. Like the packaging takes a big hit. I know like on the Lexus LX700H, the big Lexus, like the cargo space is not that impressive. The load floor is really high with the hybrid one, but this one here does have a 3rd row. Would I want to sit back there? Absolutely not. I'm not gonna do that. Not even bother. Like, there's a good amount of space back here though with the seats folded down. Let's go ahead and close that. We have tow hitch back here. Looks like a pretty good sized spare underneath there. Lots of nice icicles and a big single exhaust tip right underneath there. Also, this kind of powdery blue, steel blue color, it's pretty cool too, especially with the beautiful white snow of Michigan winter. But the new Gen 4Runner, I think, is a good evolution of the looks of the previous one. You got really familiar with the previous generation because it was around forever, right? But I like the way it looks. You see some family resemblance to the Tacoma too. It's a platform shared sibling, Tacoma, and then the 4Runner's kind of the SUV version of it, right? But the limited trim here, personally, from a looks wise, obviously a TRD Pro or the what's it called, the Trail Hunter is going to be the most badass one. On the inside, we have this nice chocolate brown interior on the seats here. This at first looked like a zipper to me, right? Tell me that doesn't look like a zipper. You could unzip your seat. Just a little design trim element here, and tons of little storage cubbies. Just look at the door. Cup holder, spacious storage here. Got another little storage bin right there, and then all these fun little textures too. And then if we hop in, the center console has a ton more little storage bins. I think that has to be for like wrapping a cable, like an iPhone charging cord, because you've got USB-C ports right there. We have the cup holders. You see my phone is chilling right there. And then more storage up here, glove box, more storage in the doors over there. And you'll notice the JBL speaker in the middle has an eject button, so you can press that, and then you have a Bluetooth speaker that you can remove from your car. If you're camping, you want to play some music by the fire or something, you can grab this from the car, and then when you're done, you just simply slide it right back in. That's pretty nifty. I just noticed this mainly because the Toyota logo is upside down, but it looks like turn to remove, and this pops out. It looks like a little LED, a little light here. It's got little hooks that you can hang it from something, but it doesn't look like it's turning on. I wonder if it needs batteries. It definitely doesn't charge in this little socket right here. All right, time for a bit of driving and a bit of talking about what it's been like to live with this 4Runner this week. Whee! Roads may be icy. Drive with care. Okay, yeah, I will. This thing is just on some all seasons. Whoa, yes indeed. All right, there we go. So the powertrain, it definitely is a step up in terms of torque from the old V6. And like I mentioned, a big question mark will be longevity, and then the complexity of the hybrid powertrain, which is actually even bigger step up, right? I think it's pretty potent in terms of the hybrid powertrain. And I've talked to some friends. When I had the Land Cruiser, my friend Jason has a 4Runner TRD Pro with the iForce Max, and he's had 5 or 6 previous generations of 4Runners, all the different trim levels, sports, TRD Pros, and so forth. And he said he really, really likes this new powertrain, his iForce Max. So that's a little tidbit of customer feedback from somebody who's put many thousands of miles on theirs. I only drive this for a week. Now, in terms of the other aspects of the 4Runner, the updates were so needed. Toyota sometimes, and Lexus, some of the Japanese manufacturers, they have longer product cycles. I have a feeling that's more because they're more conservative. They're trying to make sure the products are super robust. So when it's a brand new cutting edge, new big screens start popping up, new technology, right? Holograms start popping up. Just as an example, right? They're not going to be the first to adopt it because they're like, let's wait for the technology to mature to make sure it's working properly. Whereas some other OEMs might be like, yeah, throw everything in the cars, go, go, go. Anyways, this one here has been updated to really include all the things that I would expect. I love that we still have physical toggles. Like, you could use all of these climate controls with gloves on, not a single problem, right? The big touchscreen is there, so we've got that modern tech. We've got the digital rear view mirror, heated steering wheel, heated seats. So it's got plenty of those creature comforts, lots of practicality and storage. Honestly, I think one of the biggest challenges for the 4Runner is going to be the Land Cruiser, because now that the Land Cruiser has downsized the 250 series, we're now facing like 2 very similar size segment vehicles and similar price points. There's absolutely overlap. Now, you can get into nuances of the capabilities, the off-road credentials. Oh, look, there's another 4Runner over there. I like that color. That's like a dark bluey green. I don't know if you could see that. The nuances of the locking differentials and this and this and that. And yeah, we can go down that rabbit hole. And if you're shopping, you would definitely want to do that comparison. But on the surface, they are rather similar, and there is some overlap, especially when you're a higher tier here. Now, if you're looking at a entry-level 4Runner, those are going to be more in the 40s to entry $50,000 range. This one here is over 60 grand. A TRD Pro is over 70 grand at this point now if you check a couple boxes or when you just order those like that. So they are going to be on the more pricey side. That's what we're driving right now. Now, that being said, I want to emphasize again, 4Runners hold value. I believe it's a combination of the fact that people view these as extremely durable and reliable, and they have the reputation of just going and going. They've got they check a lot of boxes. It'll go anywhere you need it to go. Even this limited trim here, right? We've got off-road modes, we've got a diff, you can change everything here. This is actually really cool. Little center toggle for your drive modes and going from high to low and things like that, right? It can still tow a good amount. Like, it just checks so many boxes if you want to be a little more active and you don't want to be driving a RAV4. They make this. I'm curious to see how Land Cruiser versus 4Runner sales are splitting. Definitely probably still more for 4Runner because they have more affordable entry-level models, and Land Cruiser still kind of a step up. But there it is. Spending a week living with the 4Runner Limited. If I were shopping for something like this, I'd probably end up going for the TRD Pro model just because it's kind of a more enthusiast halo version. But if you know you're not going to actually go off-roading, you know you don't even go to campsites or up some fire roads or like those kind of things, right? Then this honestly is plenty. The limited trim here gives you lots of nice features. It still looks the part, and you know if it's snowy, right? The roads are kind of messy now. This thing will get you out of trouble. It'll be fine. It'll be robust. It's still a body-on-frame construction. And last final thought is this week of the iForce. This is my first time trying the regular iForce. I've only tried the iForce Max before. I think this powertrain is plenty good for this kind of vehicle. Is it fast? No, but it's not really meant to be fast, right? You can actually hear some turbo whistle as it spools up there. It's 5,000-ish pounds, 60 probably be like, I don't know, 7-something seconds. It's definitely not fast, but it's been totally fine for what I would want to use out of it. The only caveat is it's not that insanely efficient, and the tank doesn't seem to be that big, so you will be visiting a gas station pretty often. Like when this thing was full tank, it was showing like 240 or 250 miles of range. But there we go. I did enjoy my time with this 4Runner Limited. Perfect for this cataclysmic freezing winter weather, it has literally been like, with the real feel, like wind chill, -5 degrees a couple days. It's so cold this week. Anyways, 4Runner Limited, would you get the TRD Pro? Would you go for the Land Cruiser? Comment below. Hope you guys enjoyed this vlog. Thanks for watching.